welcome back to Cindy's Library. And I am Cindy, and today we are going to do Tolkien talk, since I suspect I may want to focus on videos for October for next week. So let's get our Tolkien talk done today, because around here we love Tolkien a lot. Now, I was thinking what I could do for this month. I was racking my brain, and even though it is October, Tolkien never wrote anything related to the Victorians. Yeah, he thought Shakespeare was a bit too modern. He preferred, in a lot of cases, now it's not that he didn't look completely haggard. She and King Solomon's mind growing up, Peter Pan was influenced by that, although that may be Edwardian. Can't remember the exact dates for Peter Pan. And William Morris was a great influence on Tolkien. But that was not what he wrote about. So let's go to what he did write about. So, in Volume 9 of the History of Middle-earth, Sauron Defeated, there is included in here the Notion Club papers. Now, we could spend a lot of time on the Notion Club papers. I guess you could say, gimmick is it was found in 2000 something. It seems like it was written by some Oxford dons, maybe in the 1970s or 80s, but the story they wrote was set back in the 1950s or maybe 40s. And we've got a very good fictionalized portrait of what meetings of the Inklings were like. And they discuss science fiction and space and time travel and Old English and mythology and dreams and all sorts of things, which sort of all comes together, sort of. It probably would have come more together if Tolkien had ever finished it. Yes, once again, another work which was never finished. Although at least we do have an outline at the end of what, generally speaking at least, would have happened. Although, like, what happened to the Lord of the Rings? Oh, and how that grew. It would not surprise me if that is what would have happened if he'd actually worked more on the Notion Club papers. But there is a poem here that is shared at this pseudo-inkling group called Immerin, that it's not so well known, since the Notion Club papers themselves are not so well known. Not sure if this poem was ever published outside of the Notion Club papers, but in any case, it's not one of the well-known ones from The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings or The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. But it is the story of St. Brendan's voyage, and it is very different from the voyage of St. Brendan that I read about during Ancient Sathan when reading about some ancient English stories that were written about saints and things like that. So here, oh, I guess it is The Death of Saint Brennan is what this version is called. Imran, but here it is. At last out of the deep seas he passed, and mist rolled on the shore. Under clouded moon the waves were loud as the laden ship him bore. To Ireland, back to wood and mire, to the tower tall and grey, where the knell of Clan Berta's bell tolled in green Galway. Where Shannon down to Lough Derg ran, under a rain-clad sky, St. Brendan came to his journey's end, to await his hour to die. Oh, tell me, Father, for I loved you well, if still you have words for me of things strange in the remembering, and the long and lonely sea, of islands by deep spells beguiled, where dwell the elven kind. In 7 long years the road to heaven or the living land did you find? The things I have seen, the many things, have long now faded far. Only 3 come clear now back to me, a cloud, a tree, a star. We sailed for a year and a day and hailed no field nor coast of men. No boat nor bird saw we ever afloat for 40 days and 10. We saw no sun at set or dawn, but a dung cloud lay ahead, and a drumming there was like thunder coming of a gleam of fiery red. Upreared from sea to cloud, then sheer a shoreless mountain stood. Its sides were black from the sullen tide to the red lining of its hood. No cloak of cloud, no lowering smoke, no looming storm of thunder. The world of men saw I ever unfurled, like the pall that we passed under. We turned away, and we left astern the rumbling and the gloom. Then the smoking cloud asunder broke, and we saw that the Tower of Doom. And we saw that Tower of Doom. On its ashen head was a crown of red, where fires flamed and fell. Tall as the column in high heaven's hull, its feet were deep as hell. Grounded in chasms, the waters drowned and buried long ago. It stands, I ween, in forgotten lands, where the kings of kings lie low. We sailed then on, till the wind had failed, and we toiled then with the oar, and hunger and thirst us sorely wrung, and we sang our psalms no more. A land at last with a silver strand, at the end of strength we found. The waves were singing in pillared caves, and pearls lay on the ground. And steep the shores went forward, leaping to slopes of green and gold, and a stream out of the rich land teeming through a combe of shadow rolled. Through gates of stone we rode in haste, and passed and left the sea, and silence like dew fell in that isle, and holy it seemed to be. As a green cup deep in a brim of green, that with wine the white sun fills, was the land we found, and we saw there stand on a lawn beneath the hills, a tree more fair than ever I deemed might climb to paradise. Its foot was like a great tower's root, its height beyond men's eyes, so wide its branches the least could hide in shade an acre long. They rose as steep as mountain snows, those boughs so broad and strong, for white as a winter to my sight the leaves of that tree were. They grew more close than swan wings plumes, all long and soft and fair. We deemed then, maybe as in a dream, that time had passed away, and our journey ended, for no return we hoped but there to stay. In silence of that hollow isle, in the stillness then we sung, softly us it seemed, but the sound aloft like a pealing organ rang. Then trembled a tree from crown to stem, from limbs the from the limbs, the leaves and air, as white birds fled in a wheeling flight and left the branches bare. The sky came dropping down on high, a music not of bird, not voice of man, nor angel's voice, but maybe there is a third. Fair kindred in the world yet lingers beyond the foundered land, yet steep are the seas, and the waters deep beyond the white tree strand. Oh, stay now, Father, there's more to say, but two things you have told, the tree, the cloud, but you spoke of three. The star in mind do you hold? The star, yes, I saw it high and far, at the parting of the ways, a light on the edge of the outer night, like silver set ablaze, where the round world plunges deeply down, but on the old road goes, as an unseen bridge that on arches run, to coasts that no man knows. But men say, Father, that ere the end you went where none have been. I would hear you tell me, Father dear, of the last land you have seen. In my mind the star I still can find, and the parting of the seas, and the breath as sweet and keen as death that was born upon the breeze. But where they bloomed those flowers fair, what air or land they grown, and what words beyond the world I heard, if you would seek to know. In a boat then, father, far afloat, you must labor in the sea, and find for yourself things out of mind. You will learn no more of me. In Ireland, over wood and mire, in the tower tall and grey, the knell of Cloyne Ferta's bell was tolling in green Galway. St. Brandon had come to his life's end under a rain-clad sky, and journeyed whence no ship returns, and his bones in Ireland lie. So, maybe this St. Brandon, he did visit those islands that were described in the voyage of St. Brandon. One full of demons, another full of angels, and such things, in like mysterious sights. For he says that only the three images of the cloud, the tree, and the star still stand out to him from his voyages. But clearly what Tolkien was interested in doing here was connecting the voyage of St. Brandon to his own mythology, to the lonely isle and Tol Eressëa and Valinor, far beyond the western seas along a straight road. So, lovely images of the cloud and the tree and the star. And so I would rank this up with Light as Leaf on Linden Tree and The Voyage of Eärendil that Bilbo sings in Elrond's house. And The Hoard and the Adventures of Tom Bombadil. A very lovely poem. I think that Tolkien knew what sea longing was like, for sure. And I think St. Brandon would have appreciated that. So, that is all I have for Tolkien Talk today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to hear if you've read Imran before, and if you enjoyed this poem. Like I said, it's one of my favorites from Tolkien. So, Feel free to leave any comments below if you would like. Thank you so much for stopping by, and until next time, I hope you all stay safe and healthy, and happy reading!